the second half of what we want to do here in this afternoon session, namely honor a whole range of people who have won different sorts of prizes, accolades, and other sorts of things for SASE. And for that, Jackie, I'll hand over to you, and then also to, I think, the different guests whom we have here in the audience, both who receive prizes and accolades, but also who may enter the stage for Laudatio. Those of you who do that, you can either take this as a microphone or also this thing right here. Okay.
Well, fantastic. I'd like to hand over now, we do the awards ceremony. The first person I'd like is Roberto Pedicini from organising the early career workshop. So Roberto.
Thank you. Thank you, Jackie. Just very briefly, this is actually an occasion to remind you of this initiative that SASE has been organizing since 2016 in Berkeley, which is very, I think, very important for SASE actually, because it provides opportunity for young PhD students or postdoc to present their own work at length among them, and with some, guidance from faculty, and also provides opportunity to get paid the fees for and travel and stay while you're here. So, which is also, of course, important, especially if you are a young scholar, a young PhD student or postdoc. So, just to point out that you have this opportunity. Next time, of course. This time, we had a number of applications, 45, and we could select 22 people. Actually, 21 could make it because we had one cancellation. And now I just want to list the names of those who received this award. I'm not giving out any kind of certificate because they already have that, but I want to name the people that have been here yesterday for this early career workshop. So please stand up when I say your name, and we will congratulate you for this achievement. So Fabio Ascione, maybe he's not here, but anyway, we will remember him. Joshua Kova. Yes, he's here. Thank you. Aida Garcia Lazaro. Yes. Gustav Kalm. Gustav? No. Yes, okay. Anyway. Victor Skurman. Victor? No. Diederik Stadisch? No, but maybe somebody will be. Tommaso Crescioli? Yes, okay. Tommaso. Danish Khan? Yeah, up there, okay. Yeah. Wendy Lee? Wendy, yes. Congratulations. Josep Serrano Serrat? Anna Vosny? Anna? Yes. She will be somewhere. Robert Dorschel. Shakila Harrigan. Yeah, Shakila. Kristen McNeil. Kristen. Nicholas Pang. Maria Sagmeister. Swati Chintala, Lucas Lerner, Andrew Messamore, Andrew, Barbara Ort, and in the end, Mustafa Yavas. Mustafa. Okay, thank you, congratulate everybody here, thank you.
Yeah, well done to all of you for getting through to that grant awarding thing to partake, and we're really pleased to have you here. I'd like now to hand over to Annelies, who's going to read out the comments about the best paper from Socio-Economic Review. Annelies.
So you have to imagine that I am either Timur Ergin or Elizabeth Thurbin, both of whom could not be with us, unfortunately, today. So the SER Best Article Prize Committee had 3 members: Elizabeth Thurbin, who chaired the committee, Alexandru Preda, and Timur Ergin. And they had 54 articles to look through from volume 19 of SER from 2021. And after what was apparently an extensive and fruitful discussion, they chose an article co-authored by Bernhard Reinsberg, Alexander Kentikalenis, and Thomas Stubbs, entitled Creating Crony Capitalism, Neoliberal Globalization and the Fueling of Corruption. And so just to give you a bit of a teaser for the article, the question is, how and why do efforts to curb corruption or to rein in crony capitalism, why do they fail? And they look at IMF's structural adjustment programs, and they're trying to understand why they don't work in the fight against capitalism. And they develop a striking answer to this question, which is that rather than fighting crony capitalism, these IMF conditionalities actually induce that same corruption. So if you want to find out how, I would encourage you to read the article. It's in volume 19, issue 2 of SER. And we have one of the co-authors here with us today in Amsterdam, Alexander. If you are here, I have a certificate for you. Bravo, congratulations.
Thank you.
You're welcome. You want to say anything?
I didn't expect to say something. Thank you very much for this award. And I guess thank you to the Socio-Economic Review for providing space for critical scholarship on capitalism and neoliberalism that is empirically driven, so very data heavy. And thanks a lot for supporting it. And I hope you continue to support it in the future. Thanks.
Now I would like to hand over to Virag, who is going to come and talk about the Alice Amsden Prize.
Yeah, so my name is Virag Moanar. I'm from the University of Amsterdam and the New School for Social Research, and I was the chair of the Book Award Committee with 2 other members, Eun Mi-moon and Sébastien Le Chevalier. And it is my honor to announce the winners of the Alice Amsden Book Award, which we selected from 41 eligible books, I think, which is the most that we ever received. So this is quite an honor to receive the award this year. So the main award goes to the political scientist Yuan Ang for her book, China's Gilded Age, The Paradox of Economic Boom and Vast Corruption, published by Cambridge University Press in 2020. The book investigates the paradox of how China has been able to grow so fast and for so long, despite the prevalence of widespread corruption. Yuan Ang challenges the idea of Chinese exceptionalism regarding corruption by offering an insightful historical comparison between contemporary China and the 19th century United States during the Gilded Age. She develops an innovative methodology to capture the multidimensional nature of corruption, which extends the contribution of her research well beyond China, helping to disentangle the relationship between corruption and development more broadly. She does not only break down different types of corruption in a conceptually nuanced manner, but gathers data from an impressively broad range of sources to provide robust evidence for the impact of various forms of corruption on development. The tight organization of a complex argument, the confident treatment of vast amounts of data, and the lucid writing make the book an informative and engaging read. Yuan Ang's eclectic intellectual and methodological approach also ensures that the books will appeal to a broad interdisciplinary audience. And unfortunately, Yuan cannot be here today. I hope she's watching the live stream, but I think we should still give her a hand. And I'm not done yet because the committee also decided, we had such a stellar shortlist that the committee also decided to recognize 2 other books with honorable mentions, also to represent the breadth and the diversity of research by SASE members. So one honorable mention goes to Rebecca Elliott, to her book, Underwater, Loss, Flood Insurance and the Moral Economy of Climate Change in the United States, published by Columbia University Press in 2021. The book is an original study of climate change through a case study of the National Flood Insurance Program. The book creatively applies theoretical insights from economic sociology and science and technology studies to develop a broader view of the concept of loss that goes beyond conventional academic and policy discussions of risk and insurance. Following in the footsteps of Viviana Zelizer, Elliott shows the multiple meanings of loss that shape the social construction of risk. She deftly combines data from interviews, ethnographic fieldwork, and archival materials to craft a multi-layered story about the seemingly pedestrian subject of flood insurance. And I think Rebecca is here, so please. And the second honorable mention goes to Rachel Salazar-Pereña's book, On Free, Migrant Domestic Work in Arab States. She offers new and thought-provoking insights about the experience of unfreedom due to the absence of labor standards under the kafala, the employment sponsorship system. She focuses on the diverse conditions of domestic workers from the Philippines in the United Arab Emirates, showing how morals shape the market of migrant domestic work. The book's research design captures global processes in innovative ways by tracing migrant labor through the interactions of various stakeholders, including sending and receiving states, recruitment agencies, as well as employment and non-governmental agencies. Pereñas' analysis complicates the story of exploitation, challenging previous studies of domestic work in the region. The book successfully brings together discussions of competing political theories of freedom and unfreedom, different economic sociological perspectives on morals and markets with a robust ethnography of domestic migrant labor. And unfortunately, she cannot be here today, but again, I think she deserves a hand. Yeah, thanks so much. So these were the awards.
Thank you very much, Virag. Now I'd like to move to Ginny Dolagast is going to come and give a tribute to David Marsden. As many of you know, David was, please come down, Ginny, very long-term contributor to SASE, to Socio-Economic Review, and died far too early, and we just want to acknowledge and recognise his important contribution to the association, which Ginny's going to do, and Karen Shire has also organised a special session at this conference to commemorate his work. Thank you.
So I'm actually participating in this special event on Monday, and so I'm not going to give a long tribute to David Marsden, but instead I think the prize itself is a tribute to his work, but I will say a few things about him. So there was a committee of myself, Alice Lamb, and Jill Rubery to decide on this inaugural David Marsden Prize to honor David's legacy within SASE. And so a few words about David. Again, more will be said on Monday. David was my colleague at LSE for 8 years, and there's a lot that I could say about my time with him and the great loss, personal loss I experienced with his death. But I have to say, in the spirit of the awards ceremony, and the time that I've known David, SASE was really his academic community, and I think it really fit with his multidisciplinary research on the socioeconomics of employment. It was kind of his core concerns. He served as SASE president in 2002 to 2003. And he organized Network G, labor markets, education, and human resources over several decades, and helped SASE to host annual conferences twice at LSE, once when I was there. And he was also a founding editor of Socio-Economic Review. So I think you'd be hard-pressed to find somebody with such deep roots within the SASE community, but also who had so much an impact on generations of junior scholars here, and as well, of course, junior scholars like me, between the communities of LSE and SASE. So in reading the papers, we were looking for contributions to the themes that were important in David's work, particularly his interest in how national institutions and industrial relations shape labor markets and employment systems. So I'm sure many of you have read his comparative book on employment systems. It was really tour de force and certainly influential for me as a graduate student. And I think has shaped a lot of the debates and theorization within the SASE community. So the inaugural David Marsden Prize goes to the paper So Near and Yet So Far, a new look at the comparison of the French and British models by Thomas Amousset, Héloïse Petit, Alex Bryson, and John Forth. And their paper is based on an original analysis of the UK Words and French Réponse surveys, and the result is a really interesting and detailed picture of both general differences between these two countries, but also variations within each national model. And the committee felt that this paper embodied David's curiosity for understanding the multi-layered and multi-level institutional effects, as well as his commitment to empirical rigor. And of course, his longstanding interest in both Britain and France, which connects him, I think, internationally to many of the communities that are here. So there's Thomas, Héloïse. That's it.
I'll be very short, just to say that unfortunately I'm the only one, but then I represent the four of us, the four co-authors, to really thank the jury and the committee, and first of all, thank you for organizing this prize and creating this prize, basically. And I feel really, really honored to be the first one to receive it, and really, really honored that it gives us a time to collectively remember David and David's, of course, crucial participation in this network, but also more widely in employment relation research, and employment relation research, on both sides of the channel, and creating this bridge on the both sides of the channel, and since so long, and really continuously activating this bridge. That was really nice, and so I'm really honored with this Franco-British team to continue building this bridge, and hope it will last long. Sorry, indeed, I was planning to remind the Monday session, but also maybe just to say the paper will be presented tomorrow.
So. Everybody should go and watch the paper. So we actually have a second paper which receives honorable mention. Is the standard employment contract good for all? The gendered institutional logic of employment in South Korea by Francis K. Yoon. Yoon takes a multi-method approach, which also was a signature of David's research. And he has this really interesting analysis of gender regimes, where he's looking at how and why non-standard employment contracts for jobs of different skill levels are arranged differently between men and women, and also between women in different jobs. So we thought that this also would have been a paper that David would have appreciated, welcome to this network, and is deserving of honorable mention. So is Francis Yoon here? Great. Congratulations. I don't know if you want to say. No pressure. All right. So thank you very much.
Sorry, if you give me just 2 seconds. I hadn't got up the right page I wanted to get up for you. How do I make, I see. Oh, no internet. Oh, yeah, never mind. Okay, doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because it won't work. Right. Okay, this part is where we want to have honorary members of SASE. And we had a big discussion about why do we want honorary members and what will they actually do. I think that's another question that could be carried on for further years beyond me. But this year we decided there was a very long list of people we would like to include, and we do think it's important to have people that we feel have made significant contributions in different ways intellectually to the development of our association. So this year we wanted to give two recognitions. One was to Mark Granavetta, clearly for the massive contribution he's given to the discipline. And in particular, I was going to show you the links we had to the SASE salons that we organised before the conference, where Mark came to talk about his work. And I think they were an important contribution to some of those debates. His contribution has been phenomenal. And also, I have to say, in the interaction with him, one of the things I massively appreciate, how extraordinarily humble he is. And he laughed. He said, oh, yeah, you know the article I had published about 1973? When I first submitted it, it was my dissertation. And I submitted it just about 1969, 1970, and I can't remember which journal it was, but a leading American journal. And it was called Alienation, the Strength of Weak Ties. And one of the reviewers wrote back to him with about 5 pages of reviews saying that he was clearly a complete and utter idiot who had not a single idea of what the concept of alienation was all about, and then proceeded over the next 5 pages to explain to Mark, a young graduate student, what he needed to do to understand why he was completely wrong and barking up the wrong tree, etc. So Mark thought, oh, okay, right, maybe that's not quite the right title. So he then spent 3 years reviewing it and editing it and submitting it to the other leading American journal. And obviously, it went on to become one of the most cited articles in our discipline, with over 30,000 cites, I think, to it. So it just shows you, if you're a young researcher and you get a rejection, well, just don't worry, just keep working at it and send it to the next journal. And I just think that's a useful and appreciative story. It's an anecdote, really, but it's a reflection of somebody that has a considerable intellectual weight, but also has a sense of humility and respect for the kind of profession and the challenges it presents us. So we're very pleased to make Mark an honorary fellow. And the second person we would like to... The second person we'd like also to honour is Jati Ghosh. One second. Yeah, because her work as an economist, her working on issues around development and economics and poverty and COVID and policy making have made a really massively important contribution to SASE. Jati has also contributed on several occasions. For example, last year she held a major plenary around the consequences of COVID and what it meant for different communities. This year she also contributed to a panel we had around fractious feminism and feminist solidarities. And her work is really on the forefront of what the types of socioeconomics is trying to deal with, of interacting with those various forms of inequality and new challenges that are coming to it. So that's why we also wanted to recognise her as an honorary fellow and her contribution to the association. So thank you very much. Now I'd like to welcome Nina Bangel to come down and to give a lauditio for Gregory Jackson's
Hi, everyone. Wow, it's so great to see you all. Third time is the charm. We are here in Amsterdam. Might be a slogan for us. Really great to see you and welcome everyone. I'm Nina Bandel. I'm a professor of sociology at the University of California, Irvine, and I'm one of the editors for many years of Socio-Economic Review, and it was a true honor to be invited to say a few words in a laudatio for Professor Gregory Jackson, as he has completed 10 years, a decade, of service to the SASE's flagship journal, Socio-Economic Review, as its chief editor. We are here, and we cannot give enough thanks, so I do want to recognize one more time the SASE office, Dr. Annalise Freiberger, Pat Zraridi, Sean Owens, and Jacob Bromberg, as well as Professor Daniel Müge and Professor Jackie O'Reilly, who just inspired us with our presidential address. But I would also like to ask you to indulge me in another gesture. There's somebody who delivered a presidential address last year and did not get to receive an applause in recognition of her presidency, Professor Sigrid Quack. Who has not only done heroic work doing everything online, but I've served as treasurer of SASE, and we were in a very precarious financial situation. So if you were behind the scenes with me, this applause would be much, much longer. I do appreciate it so much also personally. And now we're all enthused, we're all riled up. So without further ado, to the task at hand. 225, 270, 279, 293, 337, 379, 405, 527, 485, 482, in total 3,682 manuscripts submitted to Socio-Economic Review over the past 10 years, from 2012 through 2021, during the period in which Professor Gregory Jackson was SER's editor-in-chief. First of all, congratulations on a heroic job. Indeed, because the editor-in-chief sees all these manuscripts, all 3,682 of them during Gregory's tenure. 40 issues of the journal were produced, and since I'm of this stature, it would be kind of up to here, to my waist, if we were piling them all up. So it is big. It may be a Guinness record for editors of academic journals, but certainly is a record in the history of Socio-Economic Review. I got to meet Gregory Jackson at SASE. He was one of the organizers for Network H on markets, firms, and institutions, one of the biggest networks then, and I was delighted when it was announced that he would become SER's editor-in-chief. I was a newly minted editor, first woman editor, when Wolfgang Streeck at the Max Planck Institute for the Study of Societies passed the baton to Gregory Jackson. Gregory would assume the third installment of editorship-in-chief. Alex Hicks and, as we heard, David Marsden were the founding editors of the journal, which was established in 2003. Gregory Jackson is an esteemed and prolific scholar, professor of management at Free University of Berlin. He completed his PhD at Columbia University. Two of his close personal mentors were Ronald Dorr and Masahiko Aoki. Professor Jackson is the foremost expert on issues of corporate governance and how corporate governance is shaped by organizational and institutional contexts across nations, particularly using cases from Germany, Japan, the UK, and the USA. His research has illuminated the relationship of corporate governance and human resource management, as well as issues of corporate social responsibility and labor standards. His research, featured in The Economist, Financial Times, on BBC Radio, among others, has been published widely in leading academic journals, and a number of his projects on public policy have been sponsored by the British Department of Trade and Industry, the Japanese Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, the Institute of Chartered Accountants of England and Wales, and the German Hans Böckler Foundation. On top of these academic accomplishments and accolades, Professor Gregory Jackson has served with distinction as chief editor of SER. A fun fact is that one of Gregory's most cited articles on corporate social responsibility and institutional theory with Bremen and Matten was published in SCR just before he started as editor, and this article remains as one of the most cited SCR articles of all time. So do read it if you haven't yet. Just before Gregory started, the journal debuted on impact factor ratings, how many times articles published are cited. This was in 2011, it was at 1.8, and it has risen on the impact factor charts with 2020 rankings at 4.4, which is the highest in the journal's history. That is quite spectacular, and not that rankings are all that matter, of course, unless it is a journal you devote thousands of hours of work and is dear to your heart. So in all seriousness, Gregory's leadership of the journal has always been about nurturing knowledge and about building community. He understands intimately that knowledge is about dialogue and interaction, and this can be fostered, no matter how flawed it is, through a top-notch review process at a journal. We have all been dedicated to that under his leadership. And on this note, I think Gregory would want me to extend huge thanks to the reviewers of SCR who are in this room, many of you. The journal would not exist without you. It is very invisible labor. Again, system not perfect by any means, but thank you very much for your service. And I think Gregory would also want me to say what we have been saying at SASE conference to potential authors, already existing authors, authors to be, please submit your best work to SCR. Gregory has devoted deep care and attention to shepherding manuscripts through a review process, championing the developmental review of manuscripts for junior scholars with a dedication to diversity in submissions across gender, geographical regions, and methodological approaches. Indeed, I think his devoted work for the well-being of socioeconomic review may earn him not only a title of SCR editor-in-chief, but rightfully a title of SCR's keeper-in-chief, our journal's keeper. It is still a mystery to me where Gregory, over the decade, drew inspiration that sustained his perseverance, because you should know that it's a fancy title, but it is a lot of work. Being editor-in-chief means he oversaw a team of editors, but also as the first one to see manuscripts before he assigned them to others. That was a difficult job. It turns out that many manuscripts submitted to SCR do not quite fit with the mission of the journal. So he was in the position, had to be in the position as the chief to send desk reject letters, bad news that nobody wants to receive. And that gets to a person. So thank you, Gregory, for shouldering this responsibility and especially to have carried this burden during the pandemic with so much hardship all around us. We really are hugely indebted to you. It's been a distinct honor and pleasure to work alongside you as one of the SCR editors. We get familiar with each other's routines, and I know Gregory would devote his Sundays, among other days, but also his Sundays to SCR. Hope you get your Sundays back, Gregory. And also big thanks to your family, and they get your Sundays with you back. You did this for the good of the SASE community. So on behalf of SASE, we have something for you that maybe will be a thing to enjoy in your much more of a spare time that you hopefully have, and it is linked to one of your passions, to the guitar. Would you come up here, please? It is a small token of appreciation. It is a guitar bow. So for more music, more creativity, more beauty around us, which we surely need these days. Okay, full disclosure, I am also finishing my term as editor. And what can I say? Well, it's been a formative time of our professional lives, for sure. But you, Gregory, will remain forever, I think, as an honorary SCR's keeper-in-chief. Arigato. Thank you very much.
I just want to say thanks to the great team at SCR and all the past editors, and for all of you for being great authors and doing awesome research. And it's been a very honor to be the custodian of the journal for so long. So thank you.